We also talked about lines. You know, this has a slope. This has a much greater slope, like a steeper slope. Lines like this have a negative slope because we go from left to right and it's negative. And we talked about lines that go straight up and down. Like this line would have, it's called an undefined slope because it just goes straight up and down. So anyhow, let's read this first little story. To find the slope of a graph, Aiden counted the rise to be 6 and the run to be 8. And set up the ratio 6 over 8 equals 3 over 4. So he made a right triangle over here. He found that the rise was 6. And you may be thinking, isn't that 3? Well, if you look at these numbers on the side, they go up by 2. So technically, this is 6, this is 2, 4, 6. And the run, also, if you look at the numbers on the bottom, they go up by 2 as well. So the run is 8. So 2, 4, 6, 8. There it is. So he calculates the slope as 6 over 8, which can be reduced to 3 over 4. Using the ordered pairs, how else could Aiden have found the rise to be 6? What ordered pairs are they talking about? They're talking about this ordered pair right here and this ordered pair. How could he have found the rise? Well, he could have just taken the rise. Remember, rise means the thing that goes up and down, which associates with the y value. Remember, the y value goes up and down. The x value goes left and right. So if you took the y values, 16 and 10, so let's look at our ordered pairs. We have 16, 16, and we also have 8 and 10 as our other ordered pair. How else could we have found the rise to be 6? Well, if we did 16 minus 10, and we're only focusing on the y values here because the y's correspond with the up and down. The x values have nothing to do with that because the x values correspond with like leftward and rightward movement, like left and right. So you could have just subtract y values, or 16 minus 10, which equals 6. Using the ordered pairs, how else could Aiden have found the run being the horizontal movement? Well, you would subtract the x values instead. You subtract the y values for the rise, subtract the x values for run. And the x values are 16 minus 8, and that would equal 8. So, yeah. What's the point of all that? Well, this is going to lead us into the slope formula. We can describe the slope as the following ratios: the rise over the run, or the change in x over the change in y. I've also said delta at y over delta x. Delta means change. So because of these ratios, the formula for slope is the y2 minus y1, which gets us the rise, and then x2 minus x1, which gives us the run, right? So if you subtract one y value from the other, and then one x value from the other x value, you're going to be given the slope. So let's go ahead and try some problems. That seems a little confusing. Don't worry, it's not that bad. Use the slope formula to find the rate of change in each representation. Sure will all work. Remember, rate of change and slope mean the same thing. So remember, rate of change is slope. May even want to underline that. No, use the slope formula to find the slope in each representation. Okay, so the rate of change. What we need to do is just choose two random points. So these essentially are ordered pairs because this is an x term and a y term. So this would be like 0, 5 would be like, if it's got an x value of 0 and a y value of 5, that would be that. X value of 1, y value of 5.5. X value of 2, y value of 6, and then we've also got an x value of 3 and a y value of 6.5. They want us to choose, you can choose any points. So when you use slope formula, you choose any two points. Like we chose these 2 points over here to find the slope. We can choose any of these 2 points. Now, I'm going to choose the easier numbers 2 and 6, and I'm going to use 0 and 5. Why those two numbers? Well, it's because I'm trying to avoid the decimals. I don't like subtracting by decimals or working with decimals, so the formula is y2 minus y1. So here is the part that gets a little bit where you want to think about, what is y2, y1? Well, this is an x value, right? Well, let me get the blue out. Let me erase this. So this is an x, oh no. This is an x value, and this is a y value. This is also an x value, and this is also a y value. We have to figure out which one is going to be 0.1 and which one's going to be 0.2. It doesn't really matter which one is which. Let's go ahead and call this 1, which means this is also 1, and this is 2, which makes this 2 as well. Okay, and our formula says y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right, y2. y2 is what number? It is 6. So 6 minus y1, which is 5. 6 minus 5 divided by x2. What is x2? It's 2. See? x2 down there, and it's 2. Minus x1, and x1 is over here, and that number is 0. 2 minus 0. So what is 6 minus 5? That's 1. What's 2 minus 0? 2. Our slope is 0. That's it. You just choose two of these points. Could have been any 2 points. You could have chosen one, like this one right here and this one right here, and you could have said like, oh, this is y2 and y1, so it's like 5.5 minus 5, and then 1 minus 0. And you may be thinking like 5.5 minus, well, let me prove it to you. You may be kind of confused. So let's say I chose this value instead. And I did 5.5 minus 5 over 1 minus 0. And you're thinking, how does that equal 1 over 2? Well, 5.5 minus 5 is 0.5. 1 minus 0 is 1. What's 0.5 over 1? Well, 0.5 is like 1/2, right? 1/2 divided by 1 is, and if you divide 1/2 by 1, you actually get 2. 1/2 divided by 1 is, anything divided by 1 is 1/2. So you still get 1 over 2. So yeah, it doesn't really matter. But like I said, I avoided this number and this number because, or this point and this point, because I wanted to avoid decimals. Let's try number 3. Number 3, we've got a graph. Oh, we did this before. What we're going to do in this one is we're going to choose 2 random points. And I guess it doesn't have to be random because we've got a point already chosen for us. So let's go ahead and call this one y2. Sorry, not y2. This is point number 2 right here, and this is going to be point number 1. So what point is this one over here? It is 5 and, it's not 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not 5 and 5, it's actually 5 and 50. So let's write that down. This is point 5, 50. And our first point over here is point 0 and 80. Point 0, 80. So we need to choose one to be 0.2 and one to be 0.1. Let's go ahead and say this is 0.2 and this is 0.1. So y2 minus y1, this is let me write that down. This is x2, y2, x1, y1. All right, so y2 is right over here. It's 50. So 50 minus y1 is 80. 50 minus 80 divided by x2, which is 5, minus x1, which is 0. So 50 minus 80 is negative 30. 5 minus 0 is 5. Oh, we can simplify that. What is negative 30 divided by 5? That is negative 6. So our slope is negative 6. Let's go ahead and try the next couple problems. A graphed line passes through each of the following pairs of points. Find the slope from the ordered pairs. This is actually easier than the other ones because they give you the points. So we just have to figure out which one is which. I'm going to go ahead and say this is point 1. This is y1, x2, y2. So y2 minus y1, that's 7 minus 4. x2 minus x1, that's 1 minus 2. And that gets us 3 over 1, negative 1. 3, and 3 divided by negative 1 is negative 3. So yeah, actually. All right, this is going to be x1, y1, x2, y2. y2 is negative 2, minus y1 is 0. x2 is 3, y1 is minus y1, which is negative 1. All right, negative 2 minus 0 is negative 2. Positive 3 minus negative 1. Remember, when you see something like that, minus negative, you actually turn that into a plus. So 3 plus 1, which gets us 4. So what's negative 2 divided by 4? Can we simplify that? Yes, divide the top and bottom by 2. You end up with negative 1/2. All right, 6. Now, some of you may be thinking like, hey, what if I just do x2, y2, x1, y1? Can I do that? Yes, you can. It doesn't matter which one is 0.1 and 0.2 as long as you are like doing 3 minus 5 and then 1 minus 5. Where people go wrong is they'll do, 3 minus 5, and then they'll do 5 minus 1. You can't do that. If you subtract from the left, right, for the x's, you also have to go left, right. You can't go left minus right and then right minus left. It doesn't work that way. So I'm actually not going to do that for this one because it's more annoying. So this is x1, y1, x2, y2. So y2 is 5, y1 is 3, x2 is 5, x1 is 1. What is that? That's 5 minus 3 is 2, 5 minus 1 is 4. I can simplify that. That's just 1/2.
For the NS quiz, it still says it's missing.
Give me a second. Can you pull it up for me? Yeah, please. Sorry. For this one, let's do this as x1, y1, x2, y2. So y2 is 3, y1 is 0, x2 is 3.5, x1 is 4.25. That gets me 3.5 minus 4.25, I believe, is 0.75. Negative 0.75, actually. So if I divide that in my calculator, 3 divided by 0.75. Okay, 3 divided by 0.75. Let me erase that. 3 divided by 0.75, or 3 divided by 3/4. There is a way to do this. You end up with 4 as your slope. So if you're figuring out how to do that, 0.75 or negative 0.75, it's negative 4 by the way, is negative 3/4. And 3 divided by 3/4 is 3 divided by 3/4. 3 basically change to multiply, flip, 4 over 3. Cross cancel, you end up with 4. So yeah, it's 3 divided by negative 0.75. When you have a positive divided by a negative, you end up with a negative answer. All right, let's try number 8. Let's do, this is, x1, y1, x2, y2. All right, 3/4 minus 3/4 is going to be the y value, and then 5 minus 2. Thankfully, 3/4 minus 3/4 is 0. 5 minus 2 is 3. 0 divided by 3 is just 0. Next one, x1, y1, x2, y2. So y2 is 2, y1 is 3, x2 is 7.5, x1 is 7.5 as well. 2 minus 3 is negative 1. 7.5 minus 7.5 is 0. Anything divided by 0 is undefined. So our slope is undefined. You could write that, or you can say undefined. Either one of those mean the same thing, but it's a 0 with a big slash, not just a regular 0 like that. All right, The table shows the relationship between the number of songs Alicia has purchased and the cost of her purchase. Find the rate of change or the slope. Remember, rate of change and slope are the same thing. So the relationship between the number of songs she purchased and the cost of her purchase. So if you remember, like independent versus dependent variables, X is the independent, Y is the dependent. And typically tables always show the X or independent first, and they show the Y or dependent afterward. So you can just use this as like the X and the Y. So let's choose 2 points that, our first point would basically be 2, 3.27. Our next point is 5, 6.24. Our third point is 8, 9.21. And our fourth point is 10 and 11.19. Which 2 points are the best? It really doesn't matter. Let me go ahead and just choose the first 2 points. Remember, these are the X terms and these are the Y terms, and this will be 0.2 and this will be 0.1. So, I'm going to do the work up over here. So Y2 is 6.24 minus 3.27. And then X2 is 5, X1 is 2. 6.24 minus 3.27. Gosh, 6. I don't know off the top of my head. 6.24 minus 3.27. That equals, let me try that again because I got a wrong answer. 6.24 minus 3.27. See if I can get it correct this time. All right, 2.97. So that equals, I'm going to erase this down here. That equals 2.97. And on the bottom, 5 minus 2, that's easy, that's 3. To simplify this further, it's 2.97 divided by 3. So this is 0.99. So what does that mean? It's, remember, y over x. Sorry about that. Y over x. The y is the cost of purchase. The x is the number of songs. So it would be 99 cents. The cost would be 99 cents for each song. So yeah, 99 cents per song is how we could state it. All right, let's try number 11. The table shows the distance Andy and his friends have left on their road trip based on the number of hours they have driven. Find the rate of change or slope. So our x is the hours driven. Our dependent variable, which is our y, is our miles remaining. So we have miles remaining per hours driven. So let's choose 2 points. I'm going to choose these 2 points because they're easy. This one and this one. This is going to be my second point. This is going to be my first point. It'd actually be easier if I did it the other way, but it's okay. So y is 0 minus 120. And then we do 7 minus 5. 0 minus 120 is negative 120. 7 minus 5 is 2. And then I could simplify that further. That equals negative 60. Negative 60 what? Negative 60 miles remaining per hour driven. So that is our rate of change or slope. Finally, number 12. The post office charges a flat rate plus cost for shipping based on the weight of an item. So we've got a flat rate plus cost of shipping based on the weight of an item. To ship a 2-pound item, it costs $6.09. To ship a 7-pound item, it costs $8.84. Find the rate of change. Okay, so you want to think about what's the independent and dependent variable. Well, the cost depends on the weight, right? So independent would be the weight. The cost is the dependent because the cost depends on the weight, right? Cost depends on weight. The weight does not depend on the cost. All right, so that's the x and that's the y. This is the other x, this is the other y. So we've got 7 and 884. So let's do this. Let's do this as y2, this is y1, this is x2, x1. So y2, 884 minus 609 divided by x2, which is 7, minus x1, which is 2. That equals 884 minus 609, 8.84 minus 6.09. That equals 275. And 7 minus 2 is 5. So that's like 275 for every 5 pounds. Let's divide that. So 75 divided by 5, and that's going to get you 55. Not 55, but 0.55. And what that means is it's 55 cents, the cost 55 cents per pound, per 1 pound. And that's it. That is how you use the slope formula. We did slope formula for tables, which are basically just series of points, graphs, which you could find points on, and we did it for points, which is actually the easiest ones because they give you the points. And also for word problems with tables, again, which is similar to the first one, and a just word problem without any tables. So go ahead and try some problems on your own.